This morning we will hear from Sonia Winikerei from Toi Ohomai. I'd like to give a warm welcome to Sonia now. She will share her experiences and learnings from Te Pai o Toi, Redefining Academic Success. This is a program at Toi Ohomai designed to nurture academic success among Reo Māori speaking ākonga Māori. Its foundations are kāhui, manaaki, and ongoing support system. Over to you, Sonia.
Tēnā koe, kia ora koutou. So my name is Sonia Winikerei, ka tīmatau pēnei taku pēpeha, ko mātera te maunga, ko tuahuru te awa, ko whangawihi te whenua ki te māhia, ko ngai tū me ngati hi kairo ngā hapu korongo mai wahine te iwi. Kia ora koutou. I am a regional engagement facilitator at Toi Ohomai. I am on the Tokoro campus, which is one of our regional campuses. And my role at my campus is to support student success, whether it's within pastoral care or academic care. And I come up with initiatives all the time, and I approached the Māori Success team earlier this year around one of my passions, which is our ākonga Māori and our Te Reo Māori. And I am doing my Masters of Māori Indigenous Leadership through the University of Canterbury, and that has challenged me to rethink our spaces for our ākonga reo Māori in tertiary settings. So part of my learning journey was, how do I redefine Māori academic success for our reo speaking students? And so I came up with Te Pai o Toi Ohomai, which we are launching at the beginning of next year. So this is still in theory. It's all kind of getting our ducks in a row, but I just wanted to kind of explain what it is we're doing in this space. So Te Pai o Toi Ohomai is a system of support. So it's for reo speaking students who may have come from kura kaupapa or wharekura, or Te Reo Māori is just their first language, and they're choosing to study within Toi Ohomai at level 4 or above. And what we want to ensure when they come to our institute is that they are able to study as Māori and feel a sense of belonging within our institution that supports their thought processes, their worldview from a te ao Māori perspective. So that is the main objective of Te Pai o Toi Ohomai. And so behind the name, Te Pai is our paepae. It translates to the orators of Toi Ohomai. So those who sit on our proverbial paepae within our institute. And we represent our two tipuna from whom our institution was named after, Toi Te Huatahi and Ohomairangi. And so this project is creating our next generation of academic leaders through mentoring and guidance. And I want to break away from that narrative that Māori need help transitioning or getting a boost or kickstart into mainstream education, because that's not the point of this program. We're not trying to transition our Māori to become mainstream academic learners. We're trying to help them, support them to become Māori academics from a Māori perspective, but using the tools of academic writing and learning to help them grow. So these students who come on to Te Pai o Toi Ohomai, they become our future paepae. They are our next orators. They're our next succession of academic excellence. And I wanted to talk briefly about the current burden of success. So when you look at any institute, really, you have to ask yourself, who carries that burden of success? And as a generalization, a student enrolls and we capture their age, their gender, their ethnicity, whether they have a disability. We grab all the statistical evidence, and that information is used alongside whether they completed their study and whether they withdrew from their study. And so the current burden of success relies heavily on what that student does, and very little is being measured on what the tertiary institution is doing in this process. So again, we're not trying to transition our ākonga, our Reo speaking ākonga, into mainstream education. That's the main thing here, but unfortunately that is the process that most follow and most drown in without the adequate support. So me reimagining what success would look like is that when our ākonga, they enrol into our institute, they are first and foremost greeted with te pai o Toi Ohomai. They already have a foundation of support to grow and thrive as Māori academics, and that's the streamline that we're trying to create, that they come in and they have that support from the beginning to thrive as Māori academics, and they can complete their study using kaupapa Māori methodology towards their learning, because that, that's their fundamental right. So that is me reimagining what the success might look like for them. And so the program runs in 3 strands. So they're called Te Reo Tuatahi, Te Reo Ako, and Te Reo Tautoko. So Te Reo Tuatahi translates to the first language or the first voice that you may hear. And if you've ever been part of a pōwhiri process, you'd know that the first voice we hear is our karanga. And our karanga is that invitation into that space. And so our reo tuatahi, our karanga to our students is come in and we're going to nurture you and we're going to support you. So that first voice that they hear from Toi Ohomai is that they're going to get all those initial foundational supports, like the enrolment support, to get them ready, all their ducks in a row set up for all success. The second voice they'll hear is Te Reo Ako, which is around learning, that learning voice. So it's helping them have a solid induction into Māori academic learning. So one thing that often gets lost, and one thing that I've heard from many of our Reo speaking students, is that they have all these thoughts and these te ao Māori that come from a te ao Māori perspective, but they don't know how to transfer that into academic writing, because academic writing is structured in such a way that's foreign to them. And I'm saying it's actually not, but here's how we can help you understand it better so that your voice gets heard in a way that you want it to be heard. And so it's around academic writing, learning how to reference, but also understanding what a rubric is and understanding how you can use that rubric to form your discussions for your assignment. So it's around giving them all that support there from a te ao Māori perspective. And then our third strand is Te Reo Tautoko, which is around that voice of support. So it's around ensuring that all ākonga that are involved with Te Pai o Toi Ohomai, that they understand who the supports are around them and who can advocate for them as well. So those are the 3 strands of this program. So that Te Reo Tuatahi, when that occurs, that karanga, it's actually occurring as a pōwhiri and a wānanga. So we start the year pre-course. We invite all those who want to be a part of Te Pai o Toi Ohomai to our wānanga. It's a 2-3 day wānanga. And there they will have whakawhanaungatanga, so they will connect with other students who have decided to be a part of Te Toi Ohomai, but they're also connecting with kaimahi as well that can support them. So we're setting them up for success. So in Te Reo Tuatahi, in that strand, we're ensuring that they've got the enrolment sorted, their study links, scholarships, we're getting their student ID sorted, them understanding their timetable, campus orientation. They're getting the whole works there in that space. And we're making sure that they're ready to start their program in the coming weeks. And then within that wānanga, we are going to be having block workshops, and these workshops will focus on different things that we've decided upon based on the feedback we've received from Reo speaking ākonga this year in regards to what they struggled with when they came into our institute. So understanding a rubric, I've used that as an example because many had never seen a rubric and they didn't understand what it is. So we're not trying to help translate it into English and look at it from a different lens. We're going to teach them how to read a rubric from a Te Ao Māori perspective. And I use an example of Hone Sadler, who uses whakapapa to connect the dots, so to speak, between one phenomenon to another phenomenon. So how do we connect Te Ao Māori and our atua Māori, our pūrākau, our stories to this rubric and help it make sense for our Te Reo speaking ākonga? So that's an example of how we will utilise that space there. And then Te Reo tautoko, as I said, we're going to have all our kaimahi that are available to come in and speak to our te pai or Toi Ohomai students to kōrero around what supports are available to them within our institute. This happens anyway, but because we're already bringing these students together as a cohort and we want them to grow as a cohort, that it's best that we ensure that they receive these messages as well as this rōpū. And so as a whole, we have our redefining our spaces within our institute. We have our 3 languages or our 3 reo components, and how we support them on an ongoing basis is that we will hold wānanga or hui once a month to talk about any kaupapa matters that come up. So this is where we capture kōrero from our ākonga to make sure how they're doing, what are their challenges, and that informs us on how we will present our next wānanga the following year for the new cohort. So we're learning as we go along as well. And the additional responsibilities is that, you know, with our reo speaking ākonga, they might already be on their kaikaranga, kaikōrero journey. They might want to be sitting on our paepae, and we want to provide opportunities for them to grow and develop those skills on our marae as well. So while it says responsibilities, this is also optional. We're just ensuring that our Māori students have an opportunity to thrive as Māori. We have a beautiful marae. We want to utilise it, and we want to utilise our students to grow on that marae and be our future paepae as well. So how are we doing this? So for ākonga, we're going out. We've got people who are going out before the end of this year to kōrero to our Year 13 students within our local kura and wharekura, to let them know that if they so choose to study with Toi Ohomai next year at level 4 or above, that they have this streamline of support and they can enrol with Te Pai or Toi Ohomai as well. And if they do, they'll be invited to our pōwhiri at the beginning of next year. We need to be involving our stakeholders. We need to be inviting our kaimahi, especially our kaimahi Māori, to be a part of this. So we have some beautiful kaimahi Māori throughout our institute that work in different areas of student support. And I want to utilise their skills and knowledge as well to ensure that their stream of support comes from a Te Ao Māori perspective as well. So they're also invited to come and be a part of Te Pai o Toi Ohomai. And we also understand that there may be challenges for some tutors to understand what we're trying to achieve here. And so we're making professional development available for tutors to help them consider a Te Ao Māori perspective on their teaching and learning what that might look like, because we anticipate when students decide they may want to start submitting their assignments in Te Reo Māori, there's going to need to be a process around that, and we want to support our tutors to nurture that as well. And then with that at a macro scale is ensuring that our institution honours our tiriti partnerships. So making sure that, you know, programs like this are necessary. Programs like this encourage good tiriti partnerships. So we just want to make sure that our tertiary acknowledge this. And what are we measuring? I want to measure less around student outcomes, because there's many reasons why our students do not complete their course of study. And I want to do less around how well they perform. If you recall, Dr. Mason Jury, and what he wanted as his goals within education is that it's for Māori to thrive as Māori rather than how well they perform. So let's measure less on how well they're performing and more around how they're thriving, but also how much better our institutions are doing to Indigenise their spaces. Because remember, when we think about that burden of success, it currently sits with our ākonga, and I want to shift that in some way to allow our tertiaries to start re-examining and rethinking where this burden of success should sit and what changes actually need to be made within our tertiary institutes to ensure that our Māori can thrive as Māori with Te Reo and have academic success as well. So as I said, this is all being piloted at the beginning of next year. I'm hoping it all goes well. I've done some research into this. Part of my process with my master's program was to ensure that, I've got a sturdy project. I actually did a different project for my master's program, but this kind of ended up being a sub-project that I was quite passionate about, and I thought, oh, why not? Let's give it a go. So yeah, I'm going to enjoy doing this next year. And yeah, koira taku kōrero. I thank you all for listening. Ngā mihi.
Kia ora, Sonia. That was really interesting to hear how you korowai āwhi reo Māori ākonga and walk with them on their learning journey. Kind of gave me an opportunity to reflect on what we do at Te Kura Matatini o Taranaki at WIT and how our kaitaka wainga Māori and Pasifika team could work with learning advisors to better āwhi our learners. Does anybody have any kōrero or patai for Sonia?
Hi, Sonia. Thank you very much for the presentation. That was really illuminating and very heartening to see happen. Maybe my question is centered around as tangata tiriti and wanting to be powerful and strong allies within our higher education institutions to initiatives such as this. One thing that really makes me think a lot these days in the current climate that we have in this country is how can we normalize talking about this and actually own the language around this as allies, and at the same time make sure that we are still whakamana our students who subscribe to that heritage as well as staff. And it's that sharing of burden of success, as you said. And Vanessa and I, who's next to me, we've been very fortunate to be involved in the School of Engineering and Computer and Math Sciences in our institution at AUT, in an initiative that was looking at student success. But part of that was us thinking about the value and the overlap of successful pedagogy with principles of ako, and to what degree we could actually talk about it in the language of ako in what we're doing in the classroom in terms of our support, literacy support, etc. My question to you is, where does this fit in with initiatives such as yours, and what value do you see those having? Are there any particular caveats or pitfalls to avoid in what I've shared so far? Thank you very much.
Kia ora. With any pilot, you hope to have mitigated as many of those challenges before kind of going into it. And so when we anticipate there to be challenges, we anticipate that there's going to be a lot of mindsets that need to be changed, especially with those who don't quite understand Te Ao Māori or how that pedagogy fits within their curriculum. We we understand all these things and we can only but offer the support. But when you look at different regions, and what I've always encouraged is that there's not one way to do something in terms of being good tiriti partners. But one thing we should always do is acknowledge our mana whenua. So wherever you are, you need to be engaging with your local iwi and your local hapu to ensure that what you're doing within your institution and what you're doing within that region aligns with the goals of their uri. Their uri is their descendants. And getting them on board as well and asking them what and how can your programs thrive within that rohe, within that space, and start that level of engagement and partnership, not just, with the iwi as well. And that's a really difficult thing to do if you've never done it before. And how do you do it? Who tells, who goes where? Do I go onto the marae? All these questions start coming out, and it's not something that I can answer casually or easily for you. But what I acknowledge is, and what I heard is your desire to have those really good tiriti partnerships. And it does mean coming and acknowledging mana whenua first and foremost. And when you do that, you will have an opportunity to have some really awesome conversations around how to build your program within that area.
Thank you.
Very useful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sonia.
Thanks.
Just a quick add-on there. We are very lucky and fortunate that AUT has done quite a lot of work in this space in terms of their programs and strategic framework that we call Ta'aranui, which really helps us develop a sense of what's required and needed in the conversations, like you said, that need to be had beforehand. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Ngā mihi, kia ora korua.
Ke pātai Herewini?
Tēnā tātou. Not a pātai, but a biggie whara up. Tēnā koe Sonia. Ka mau te wehi ki tēnei kaupapa burden of success. Never thought of it as a burden. We are not. I just want to wish you well with your pilot. And I really love your whakaaro about measurement. Less about the outcomes and the performance, more about, hey, what can our whare ako do better? And all our courses. So, tēnā koe, thank you very much for sharing this whakaaro. And it just made me think of that waiata taimaha te ruki. Nō reira, tēnā koe kare. Kia mau tonu.
Tēnā koe. Kia ora rā.
Thank you, Sonia. That was really insightful, and we look forward to hearing how the pilot goes next year. I'm sure we've all taken something that we can reflect on and add to our kitea practice. So the other two presentations for this morning have been cancelled. So this is the end of the Innovation and Practice stream for this morning. You're welcome to pop into the other streams now in Rōmatahi o Rua, and the coffee lounge will be open during lunchtime. Karawe, kia ora, Sonia, really, really appreciate your time.
Ngā mihi, kia ora koutou.